You're listening to Miss Opinionated. Real life, real perspective, and unapologetic truth. I'm your host, Divine Priestess. Let's get into it. All right,
Yeah.
hello everyone. So, welcome to another episode of Miss Opinionated. I am your host, Divine Priestess. We have Angel back, and today we have Yadira. And these two ladies, I've known them for a long time, so they actually have the right to be called my friends. These two ladies are practitioners. Okay, they got a lot of things that they do. They are professionals at life at this point. Okay, they just are thriving with experience, very rich with experiences. And one of the experiences that we're going to be touching on is sexuality and sensuality. And when I thought about this episode, I was like, these are the two perfect ladies because they both are ex Doms. And who else to talk to about sensuality and sexuality than Doms? And I live through the stories that they tell me because Lord knows I am too chicken to do any of that. So I love it. And so welcome back, Angel and Yadira.
And of
Thank you
course,
for
round of
having us. Thank you
applause.
for having us.
Yeah.
Extremely excited to be back and get a chance to talk with y'all
Mm-hmm.
again.
Yes. So when it comes to, well, let's just get the groundwork on the difference
hmm
between sexuality and sensuality. What is the difference for the people that don't know?
Ooh, well, I'm gonna say I love the energy of sensuality, so I'll start with that. Sensuality is all about, think of just the word, the senses, right? The presence, really how you inhabit your sexuality, how you embody it. And I love the holiness to it because everything is information, right? Like your desires, wisdom, boundaries are considered holy, which is why, when we think of the kink world and exploring things in that essence, there's such a sacred aspect to it, more so, I would say, than what you would consider vanilla sexuality, right? Um,
hmm
and I'm gonna let Angel drive us with sexuality.
I love that. And I love starting with sexuality because the way that I break it down to people is that sexuality can be seen. It's somewhat palpable. It's shown in your clothes, it can be shown in your hair and your jewelry. There's small ways to signal sexuality, but sensuality is something that is felt simply through presence. How much space do you take up in the room when you're in there? People have always had this, oh, I love the way you carry yourself. That's a part of sensuality. You can't layer sensuality. You can't cover it up. Because even if you're dressed like a nun, they're gonna feel it. Sensuality is just like you said, I sense it, I feel it. I sit next to you, I get goosebumps. It's because I know sensuality is there. Sexuality is more clothing, it's presence, it can be hairstyle. But sensuality is something that's deeply rooted in you. It is sacred because it's almost like it's coming out of your bones.
I like
Absolutely.
I like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I know when people typically have the conversation of sexuality, they more so go into sexual orientation, which is its own
Mm,
subcategory. So I feel like a lot of people definitely mix sexual orientation, sexuality, and sensuality and think it's all one when really they're like
mm.
cousins.
Yep.
Absolutely.
You
And
know?
it's a lot like I feel I don't think there's anything wrong with identifying the different kinds of sexuality, right? I do think when you cage it too strongly and aggressively, that's when we lean away from the art of it.
hmm
Just like any art form, right? You have abstract, you have still life, you have portrait art. I think sexuality, the energy of it loves to morph into different things.
Mhm.
Um, and I think, unfortunately, we still live in a world where people. Do you remember those books, the morphing in the 90s? They morphed into.
Yes.
Yes,
The
if only
dolphins
people
and the
understood that
animals.
you can continue to morph. We don't need to
hmm
stay in the same bodies in terms of our sexuality that we start at.
hmm
Um, I mean, that's wild. I feel bad for people who really live their entire lives like that, because Lord Almighty, you don't get to enjoy it to its fullness when you do identify what you want to
Mhm.
dance with the most.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, when it comes to, let's explore sensuality a little bit more. Um, More so because I was introduced to sex early on in life. And so understanding sensuality is something that I didn't understand until way later in life, and even still like exploring it and trying to get a more understanding, because I feel like for me at least that sexuality is something that, I mean, sensuality is something I feel like requires a little bit more vulnerability than sexuality. When I look at sensuality, especially in terms to a relationship, I look at it as like that deep intimacy without penetration.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that makes me very nervous in previous relationships, because I'm like, oh my gosh, like, am I doing this right? Is it weird? Do they think I'm weird? Like, are they feeling what I'm feeling? And I feel like that's something that is just completely crossed over when we go through puberty and start learning about sex. It's like, it's just straight penetration. Don't get pregnant. If you have sex, use birth control. And it's like, okay, well, how do I be sensual and feel safe within my body?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do I own it? Like, because like, if it's like how you say, like, it's the presence that you carries, that energy, and then people want to pull and pull and pull, these sex demons. They want to
Mm-hmm.
pull on it. It's like, okay, well, how do I feel safe but also allowing myself to be open and free?
Energetic sovereignty. I think that's where so many people kind of get caught off guard, because despite how a lot of people kind of overuse it, sensuality, sexuality, the act of sex is energetic in nature. There is a transference that's happening. There is energy that is being blended. You're sharing a space with someone. I'm gonna get biblical where where they say there's two or three together, you know.
Yeah.
So you have that energy that's there, but what happens is that a lot of people don't realize that energetic sovereignty is going to be your biggest asset when it comes to living in a world where people really like to consume, and there is no stopping to that consumption. It's ravenous or damn near insatiable, because people love being able to view a person, and you got insta baddies and they're always pulling on that energy. You have just people walking down the street, there's always an energetic pull, because it's almost like they can smell it. It's like they
Mhm.
can sense it. It's the energy that just wraps around you. So of course people are going to be curious. They're going to want to touch, feel, and experience. But this is where I always tell people energetic sovereignty comes in to assist, because it also puts a stop to like, hey, I love that you want to view me. I love that you want to be in my space. I love that you admire whatever it is about me that has you so attracted to me. But this is also where my boundary setting comes in. And I can only give you so much of me, because I still have to have reserves for myself.
Mhm.
Absolutely. You know what? Let me just land that. I love that. I love that. And you're touching on something that I think is right at the start of what you both said. You were introduced to sexuality, Autumn, at a very young age without the conversation of sensuality. And I think a lot of people were, myself included, right? And the
Mhm.
key to that is because we're often removed from our individual relationship with our sexuality.
Mhm.
So when it comes
Mhm.
to children and teens asking questions, I've personally always felt before I'm even talking to my kids about them and someone else, we need to address how they're experiencing that within themselves.
Mhm.
And my daughter's not there yet, and I'm sure I'll feel a little weird, but gonna have to say, hey, let's go to a sex shop and like explore ways that you can tend to yourself, because that's where the conversation starts, and that's where we begin to understand the devotion
Mhm.
to our sensuality, because it is an art and it is important. I'm gonna tell you about a dream. You guys want to hear about a dream I had last night?
Yes.
I think this conversation
Absolutely.
led to it, and I haven't actively spoken to the essence of my sexuality, I would say in a while through my pregnancy. Like I get, I have a good time with my partner, but with me, myself, and I haven't really had that conversation in a while. I think I've been in the stir of becoming a parent again. So it was unexpected, and it was beautiful to have a dream about it. And it was like, hello, here we
Yeah.
are. And prior to becoming a pro dom when I was younger, I was solely living in that primal and feeling that hunger from others, wanting my body, lusting after it, and not understanding that it was something that I had agency over, and I had power over how fast it happened, and how it was spoken to and how it was treated. Um, and it was in becoming a dom that I experienced such a raw and beautiful vulnerability with myself and the clients that I was seeing. I had not experienced anyone who allowed me to see them so freely, so openly, with so much trust in me, to the point that I felt the same on a mutual level.
Yeah.
But I had such a cool dream last night where I was, and I'm sure Angel knows about this. Nowadays, dungeons are a bit more modern. And for those who don't know, dungeons are where people go and explore kink
Hmm.
in a safe environment. They usually have different rooms with different themes, toys that you can use.
Absolutely.
And often, DOMs will either purchase a room or engage in like sex parties. They're really cool. But
Hmm.
there is a beautiful religious, spiritual history to kink. And the dungeons used to almost be cathedral like. They were really beautiful. And there's only a few of them left like that in Europe and in Mexico. I don't know about South America, but there's a few left of the original dungeons. I haven't been in them. I've only been in the modern ones. But in my dream, I was in this beautiful, regal cathedral dungeon. And as I was walking through it, I saw these these larger than life, almost giant like serpents, larger than an anaconda, but they had these bright lime green tones to them. And I was looking at them. I didn't feel afraid. And I used to have a phobia of snakes, which is why I have it tattooed on my body. Um, because when I was overcoming my own insecurities as a survivor from sexual abuse, the spirit of the serpent is what presented itself to me through my
Hmm.
meditations. Um, so that phobia is gone, thankfully. So I didn't feel fear, but I remember just curiously looking at these serpents because I was like, what are they doing in a dungeon? And why is no one freaking out that there's these gigantic serpents just slithering through this entire place? And what was the most interesting is that they were eating each other so casually. I remember watching two just open their mouths and take the other one in, and neither was in pain or discomfort from it.
Hmm.
Um, and I woke up and I was like, I haven't had a conversation with myself about my sexuality in a while. And that felt like that definitely was one.
Yeah.
Yep. That was a
Um,
connection. Oh, that's beautiful.
hmm And I'm sharing it because it's part of that when we talk about sensuality is once you have an understanding of those boundaries, those fears, not just for yourself, not just for letting someone see you and being vulnerable, but also freeing yourself of judgment towards others, um, creates such a beautiful exchange of power that
Yeah.
isn't abused.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And that's
Hmm.
sensuality to me.
Yeah. I
And it's
love that
freeing.
because I never paid attention to sensuality years ago. When people would bring it up, I would just kind of like throw it to the wind, like, okay, like if I'm gonna have sex, let's just get to it. Going about it. Like I remember, I think I've shared that with both of you guys before. Of like in the past, it was just like let's just hurry up, get it over with, and go on about our
Hmm.
day. I didn't want no intimacy. I didn't want none of that. Don't touch me. Don't even look at me. Just do what we came to do and go about our
Hmm.
business. And so after sitting with spirit more and more, I've started to gain an understanding of like, okay, what is it that you really like? You're always trying to please the needs of others, and you are an important person in this connection. Like you're sharing yourself with someone, you also play a very important part. And you need to take yourself into consideration because while you're sharing yourself with someone who doesn't care about you. And so as I've sat there and I was like, okay, well, let me try to get a better understanding of sensuality. And this is where the Orishas come into play, Yemaya and Oshun, because everyone looks at Oshun as being sexual, when really Oshun is over
Mhm.
sensuality and Yemaya is over sexuality. And it goes into like so many stories of like people would always sexualize Oshun, but it's like, no, she's sensual and she's sweet and she's like honey. But when we look at honey moves a little bit slower. It doesn't move as fast. It don't move as
Mhm.
fast as molasses. And so that's what I started to learn when it comes to like sensuality. Is like sensuality is a little bit more slowed down, so the way you can fully be there and be present. Like with sensuality, I definitely feel like you have to be present, so you have to have a knowing, and it can be very uncomfortable, especially if you're someone that tries to rush through the act and like, okay, well, let's just hurry up because
Mhm.
it can be nerve wracking, and it's so funny because it's like, why are you? I learned this when I dated a preacher for a second because he used to point this out. And you know about this preacher because I always had a problem with being completely naked in front of someone. And the preacher broke me out of that because he was like, why are you like, I literally would wake up to go use the restroom and I would put my clothes on and I would try to hurry up and run out the room. And so when he was like, why are you getting dressed to go use the restroom? I was like, because I'm walking through your house. He was like, it's literally just us. It's just us. And so I was like, okay, I'm not gonna put my clothes on to go to the restroom because now he's very aware and like is watching
Mhm.
me. So I would like try to hurry up and get out the restroom like that. And he kind of like reminded me to like kind of take my time and slow down because
Mm.
also when it came to sex, and that's when like preachers are a different type of nasty.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I was introduced. I wasn't introduced to a lot, but I was introduced to enough to where I'm like, oh, preachers
Yeah.
get down.
Yes, they do. Spiritually inclined people in general get that.
Oh my god!
Mhm.
I sat there and I was like, I kind of want to tell other partners like this is what I want because of the preacher. Like,
And you can.
You
And you
absolutely
can.
can.
oh, I was like, and so that kind of like showed me to like slow down a little bit. And also the preacher helped me to like kind of appreciate my body more and all the different changes with it because he was not phased by nothing. He was not phased by
Mhm.
anything. He would literally, when he would come visit my house, he would walk around naked or just put a robe on and be completely naked. He was like, it's just us. Why would I
Mhm.
put clothes on? Why would I rush through the house like I'm scared? Like,
Absolutely.
it's like he would do like the put the arms on his chest and like have
Superman
one leg
stance.
up. Yeah, and it's like,
That's Superman stance. Oh Lord.
and I would like turn my head like, oh my god, and he was just like out in the open and didn't care. So shout out to the preacher man for helping me to
Shout out to Preacher
explore.
Man.
Shout
Very
out to
much
preacher.
so. Okay.
He,
Kudos on him. But you are right. You are right. There, spiritually inclined people gets down because it's a freedom. In order to move, spirituality is fluid no matter what. But in order to truly move, you have to be willing to try. You have to be willing to, like
yeah,
honey, just flow.
yeah,
It might be slower, it might be faster, but if it's a little bit warmer, but
yeah,
just flow.
yeah. And that's what I learned. Sexuality is fast. It's fast
It
pace. It's
is.
definitely like the Mars. And Venus is definitely sensual because she is
Yeah,
slow in receiving as well. And that's the whole thing of it's being uncomfortable because a lot of us don't know how to receive in general. We don't know how to receive compliments, let alone
hmm
gifts. And then to like be in a bedroom with someone and this person wants to please you, it's like, stop
it'll get
it.
overwhelming a lot.
You know.
It's natural. And it's funny that you bring that up because we live, when you mention that sexuality is fast, we live in a world right now where a lot of young people are stuck in sexuality and they mistake it for sensuality.
Hmm.
And then they wonder why they're having so much trouble with, like, I love Deontay Kyle, and one of the funniest things that he said was like, "Hey, why are you 22 on dick pills?
Oh.
Drink some beet juice." And he was initially talking about the fact that there are a lot of young men whose diets are terrible, which is affecting their sexuality. But
Hmm.
what I also saw underneath that was also we live in a world that enforces sexuality, but doesn't talk about or put onto or doesn't talk about the importance of sensuality. And that's why so many people have such uncomfortable, unfortunate, or empty sexual experiences where, like, you're not even orgasming, you're not even coming, which is two totally different things in my head. But like, you're not having that experience because sexuality is fast and you think you have to do it right now, make it fast. You only got 30 minutes, but sensuality is something that could take all day. And it's okay to slow down and it's okay to accept and it's okay to receive no matter where you fall on the gender spectrum. But you have to be willing to move slower. And we have a lot
Hmm.
of people who think everything has to be fast. It has to be right now. We want immediate gratification so badly that we are
Yeah.
willing to sacrifice sensuality.
Hmm. And I'm glad that you said that because it made me think about when it comes to dating of how everything is super fast. I'm like, maybe if we took the time to explore sensuality, like tantra, and really like sit in each other's energy, then we would realize, oh,
I bought this
Yes,
out because I was like, just in
yes.
case anyone needs,
We
put it
need, yes.
right.
It's vital. It's absolutely vital. I think we're talking about the younger generation, and I've noticed, or at least that's how I'm interpreting this conversation when I think of dating. Everyone
hmm
dates though. But
hmm
I have noticed that this younger generation, I'm 36, so when I say younger, I think of like people in their 20s. Um, they're either overly active, or I have noticed a large amount of people who are choosing celibacy.
Mhm.
And as someone who, I was celibate, I think the longest period was like 6 years, but I've had moments like on and off, right? And what I learned from that was how important it actually is to be active, how important it is to have relationships, to be connecting with another human being. Um, and if I could go back in time, I would tell myself that, but I needed to process my own trauma and lessons. And I'm noticing because people do have such empty and hollow sexual experiences, their understanding is okay, well, if I don't have it, if there's an absence of it in my life, I won't experience this emptiness. I won't experience this pain again because they don't have that introduction to sensuality, or
Mhm.
they don't have, right, that sense of trust or confidence to even bring it up in conversation
Yeah.
with sexual partners. So unfortunately, right, there's these extremes that I see of people who are overly sexual and just bing bang boom have no idea what the hell they're doing,
Mhm.
or people who are just completely absent from it.
Yeah.
And that's another song that I don't recommend many people sing. As someone who did it myself, it took my dear friend Tierney to quite literally tell me, download dating apps now. You need to stop this. You need to stop it. And I was like, no, because I'm a romantic and I love devotion. And, when we talk about Mars and Venus, I
Yeah.
have my Venus in Capricorn, but I have my Mars in Scorpio. So I like to get down. But I'm also, and I ended up, you say beet juice, and I love that because I feel like it's not well known. If you want the sexual experience of your lifetime, you better drink some beet juice. You better eat some beets. 2 days before I met my man, who I love, who is a devoted, nurturing, worshiping, I do not lack. in the department of being worshipped sexually. Um, I wanted to have sexual experiences that mirrored the force that is my own. And I hadn't had that. No matter how many people I encountered, I started encountering people who understood sensuality, but then they would start and it was still it was still missing when they were getting down. It was just lacking in one way or another. And I was like, I just need another me
Yeah.
in the bedroom is what it is. And I made myself a whole beet salad. I said my prayers, kept it real simple. And 2 days later, I met a man who I cannot walk away from because
Yeah.
when we say stigmatized and stigmatized, and we just had a
That's what
baby.
I'm talking about.
We just had a baby, and he is the most amazing father. He's a great father to my daughter and to our baby boy. But
Hmm.
he is also a great giver.
Yeah.
And I had to learn how to receive. That was a big lesson with
Yeah.
this relationship was
Yeah.
learning how to receive because I was used to people who didn't understand
Yeah.
the full art of devotion.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Because when we think about receiving, I know a lot of people think of it just being penetration. And
Hmm.
it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do long strokes, deep strokes, and this is it. And it's like, take me. And it's like, yeah, but I used to always say this of there's only there's only two men that have actually had me orgasm. And out of only two, you know. And I sit there and I'm like, the reason why was because I was able to be like allow myself to open up.
Hmm.
And that's when I kind of realized like, oh, maybe I like to be touched. Like I want you to like hold me, rub me, and I need the eye contact, like the deep eye contact, but don't look me in the eyes like you're trying to like dominate you because I can tell like you're trying to dominate me in this moment. And it's
Hmm.
weird. I can feel the energy. I don't like that. I just want us to both be open, not trying to conquer each other, but really just be present and like experience one another. And so because of that, there's only two men that has ever been able to get me there multiple times at that. And it's the whole thing because one thing about it, they always made it a point to give to me. And it was a whole thing. They were not selfish at all. And it really hurt my feelings that they also fucked up because it was like, oh my goodness, but this is so great. But it's like, well, thank you for teaching me this and what I want, and also how a lot of sexual partners that I had were just there to take. They were just there to, get theirs, deuces. This was great. This was
Raggedy ass bitches. I just want to say
Hmm.
that.
Very much
yeah,
so. Very, because in my head I'm
raggedy,
thinking it's a string of curse words just all in my mind. I'm like, I can't say that. I can't
raggedy.
say it,
You
but I
know, it's like
wanna.
they just wanted my body, but they didn't want me. They didn't want the experience. They was just using me. And I sit there and like when I listen to people talk about sex, I was like, yeah, y'all don't have a clue. Like when our parents be like, you don't know
Hmm.
nothing about sex. Because it's true. It's like the whole giving and receiving thing is not from penetration. It's not. It's there's an
Hmm.
emotional when you are really in there, it is something that is like a flower blossoming. Like that's the only way I can describe it. It's like a flower blossoming. Like you guys are both opening up, like that avatar. Like in the first Avatar, when they were like intertwining with each other, it's like that's what it is really like. And unfortunately, not everyone gives that experience nor gets it. And it's like I feel as if we stop being so focused on just the act itself and try to look at it from like an emotional and spiritual lens, then the experience will be completely different. And then again, we'll know like, no, I'm not compatible with this person at
Hmm.
all. So I feel like the compatibility is also another thing that makes the experience really great because people always try to talk about like penis size and things like that. And I'm like, the ones that have always got me there were men that were smaller. You know, they
Mm-hmm.
were probably like the size of my phone. Maybe a
Literally.
little bit larger, but they're probably like around the size of my phone, and they always got me there. So it's definitely not the size thing. It's the emotional connection and just like us both mentally being there.
A lot of
Leave it to men
people.
to really think it's about size. Sorry.
Yeah, oh, it's okay. No, it's exactly that. I was just about to say a lot of men, or just a lot of people in general, really, because this affects men and women the same. They have a very conquistador mindset. Oh, I need to come in here and I need to stake claim on this. And it's like, baby, you don't have to. I'm not something to own. I flow freely like water. I promise you, if you do what's right, I promise it's gonna stay wet when the fan's on. If you do what you need to do.
Mm-hmm.
But you have
Mm-hmm.
so many people have such a, I need to stake claim, I need to leave my name on something. But it's like, you're not Christopher Columbus, babes. You don't have to come through here like a force to be reckoned with. You can come through like water. You can come through like gentle rain. You don't have to see sex as something to be conquered or something to be taken and made. Now, as someone who loves rough sex,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't need to be that every single time. Like, what is your body telling you?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people aren't connected to their bodies. They're too busy in their head. They don't know what's going on with their heart, and they definitely don't know what's going on with everything else that encompasses it. So
Mm-hmm.
they're sitting here and they're trying to have sex based off of what they see on OnlyFans or what they see on every other website. They're trying to recreate what paid actors are doing, but you're not a paid actor. What do you need? Not what your friends need, not what your own favorite OnlyFans creators need, not what your favorite uh porn star needs. What do you need? Have you sat down and asked you what you wanted? Or did you
Mm-hmm.
just click on something that aroused you fast enough so that you could just hurry up and get through with this process?
Yeah. And I definitely feel like some people try to hurry up and get through the
Mm-hmm.
process because it's like I used to be a person I didn't want foreplay at all. I was like, this is so weird. Like you're looking at me, you're doing these things with me, and nothing's happening to me. This is so weird. Like this is awkward. I feel very out in the open right now. I don't like this, and so I would always like cancel out foreplay. But then also, then I started to learn like, oh no, there's different types of foreplay because I'm a type of person of it's gonna start early in the day. Maybe the way you talk to me, maybe like the little hugs, the little things you do throughout the day. Like mentally, the foreplay is all for me mentally. And then it's like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, now when we get to the room, I'm already pretty much there because we started early in the day. Now you don't really have to do much to get the engine going
Mm-hmm.
for us to get into it. And I know when a lot of people talk about foreplay, they mostly think of again just a whole physical act before having sex. And it's like, no, this foreplay is different. Like I started to learn about feathers, flogging,
Mm-hmm.
started to learn about all these different things, but it's like also there's a mental thing. It's a whole mental thing. Like you gotta talk to her nice. You
Mm-hmm.
know.
Mm-hmm.
Did you rub her feet?
Yep.
You know, did you rub
Did
her
you
back?
actually create a
It's
safe space?
Yeah.
yeah. And again, it comes down to the whole thing of like people seeing things on porn sites and OnlyFans, and it's like that, thinking that's what it is. And then also, again, thinking that's what women like because when I first started having sex, I didn't have some dudes that were very aggressive, and it was kind of painful because it's like, I don't like that. Like, that
Mm-hmm.
is
Mm-hmm.
rough as hell. I think I tried watching like porn and I did not like it because I was like, oh my gosh, that's so rough. It looks so
Same.
painful and so
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
uncomfortable. I can't watch this. Because why is he
Same.
so aggressive?
And having
Mm-hmm.
Like,
friends of
I don't
mine
even like
that
that.
are, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I was
No, you're
saying,
good.
having
You're good.
friends of mine that are actively still creating that kind of content, none of them have sex like that. at all. Like,
Mm.
Mm-mm.
I'm not gonna name their names just for like privacy reasons, but for so many of them that I know, they're like, dude, we're not doing that when we go home. We put on
Mm-hmm.
Mm-mm.
hair, we put on makeup, we have a bottle of lube in every corner of the room. Like, we're preparing for this because we know that this is something that's a performance. And too many people
Mm.
are expecting for
Mm-hmm.
their sex to be performative. And that's just the sex. They
It's
don't even
not.
care about the sensuality that goes into it. Because there are some people you can see they
Mm-hmm.
have great chemistry on camera, but that's because they have chemistry off camera too. And
Mm.
just like how they can have
Mm-hmm.
good chemistry on and off camera, you can have good chemistry with whatever partner that you have given the privilege to be in your bed.
Yeah.
But you have to
Mm-hmm.
understand that you're trying to compete with TV. That's not really how that is. These people go home and they don't even do a quarter
No.
of the stuff you see them doing because it's not what they
Mm-mm.
need.
Yeah.
But they know that they have
No.
they have a certain group of people that want to see it. It's like you're not
Mm.
performing. Whether it's sensuality or sexuality,
Mm-mm.
you don't need to perform. Come as you are. The same way that whatever God
Mm-hmm.
you worship says, I will accept you as you are, your partner will as well. And that's where devotion, where you mentioned earlier, Yadira, that's where devotion comes in. I am devoted to pleasing
Mm-hmm.
you. If I have to crawl on my knees across the room to you, if that pleases you, I will do it. It's devotion. And people have taken devotion out and kind of like replaced it, and they'll replace it with whatever it is they need, whether that's boredom. They've replaced it with curiosity, but not a curiosity to learn, just a curiosity to see what sex with
No.
that person feels like. It's like you're taking, sorry, my
Mm-hmm.
dog, somebody walked in front of our door.
It's
It's like
okay.
you're taking that away, but put that devotion back in there because it's not just devotion to the person you're experiencing, it's devotion to yourself as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And speaking of boundaries, and it's so funny because it was always that joke of like, oh, you'll have sex with a person, but you're embarrassed to ask them their last name. You're embarrassed to ask them these questions, but yet you'll have sex with them. And so when it comes to shaping boundaries, especially because, just having that conversation about what a person doesn't like, how would you suggest
Mm-hmm.
people shape boundaries? Because I feel like too, when people maybe really like someone and that they set these boundaries, but it's like the fear of like, oh, if I tell this person I don't like this or I don't want this, what if I lose them?
Well, you can't keep losing yourself either. That's much worse. Um, I would say be as direct as possible. Leave no room for I thought this when you said that, or I interpreted, you don't have to get poetic and symbolic when you're talking about your boundaries. Be very clear and direct. And it doesn't even have to be, for some people, it could be specific. It could be a conversation where you're jotting down different areas of your life that you have boundaries around.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and for other people, it's just very, for me, for example, it's if you're going to deal with me, whether you're a friend, whether you're a romantic partner, whatever it is, you're going to know that my words hold weight and whatever I say, I mean.
Yeah.
So if I say I don't like something, don't ever do that again.
Yeah.
Right. Um, but I think being very upfront, very clear, and at first it can be nerve wracking. I'm someone who, you know, and just like trigger warning, but I'm someone who went back and engaged into having intercourse with someone who had raped me in the past, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I had absolutely no understanding of respecting my own boundaries because I wasn't raised to.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so this isn't something that I was used to either, but once I came into the habit of expressing myself, not just in the bedroom, but in life, like
Mm-hmm.
it's a practice. It's not just about one area of your life where you're setting boundaries and being clear. It's everywhere. And it doesn't have to be aggressive. It doesn't have to create a wall because boundaries are the opposite of a wall. People think of it as like a barrier, but it's really an invitation of, hey, you matter to me. I want to engage with you in a way that feels good for both of us. And in order to do that, I'm going to need you to respect my boundaries, and I'm going to need to know yours,
Yeah.
because it's a horrible feeling when you also cross someone's boundaries because they didn't express them.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, that's happened to me because I'm a very sexual person. I've had people tell me they felt sexualized by me,
Mm.
mostly men who are bitches.
Yeah.
But I did take it in, and it was like, okay, I'm a hypersexual person, and what I'm hearing is we're not compatible,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'm not even gonna try to force myself to simmer down my sexual energy.
Yeah.
I need to not interact with you because
Yeah.
I don't want you to feel like a piece of meat, and I also don't want to feel like I have to minimize my needs, which
Yeah.
are, oh, like when we talk about foreplay, I love deeply. I love, like, every love story that was ever possibly written must have been by a Venus and Capricorn person.
Yeah.
I always swear that monogamy was invented by that placement because I don't believe most people should be monogamous. But I know that monogamy comes natural for me.
Mm-hmm.
And um, my foreplay, I'm always in the mood.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm in love with the person I am with, and if I am
Yeah.
being treated correctly, all you gotta do is just say hi, and
Yeah.
my partner knows this, and I'm like, "Hey, baby," goes,
Yeah.
I'm just down. I am down 100% of the time, and I've been treated very badly, because of that in the past by partners who were too immature to connect with their needs,
Yeah.
and they saw mine as a childish form of sexuality when really it's like, no,
Yeah.
I'm a force.
Yeah.
I'm a force.
Yeah.
Um, But I think having those conversations with yourself, everything starts with yourself. So having those conversations about your sexual boundaries with yourself, and then learning to be honest about that, right? If you first start to date somebody, right? I went from one end when I was younger of not talking about my sexuality and being too scared to be perceived as like slutty or a whore or whatever, to later on when I started engaging in sex again, I was very vocal. I was like, listen, I am hypersexual.
Yeah.
I can come off such and such way. Is this going to be okay with you? Right? Like setting that standard from the get go of how you know yourself to be. And if it's still a question mark, then that's also the thing to say. Like, I'm still exploring my sexuality.
Mm-hmm.
So one minute I might want something, and one minute I may not. And
Yeah.
you need to respect when my mind changes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think also when it comes to, and I'm sorry, y'all, for some strange reason, I got kicked out of the group and then I got back in, so my
Oh.
apologies. But I was able to catch everything. And I feel like also when it comes to that fear of articulating your boundaries, it also is kind of rooted in a scarcity mindset because it's like, oh my God, what if I lose you? What if I say I don't like this thing? And we've done it a few times before, and you say, oh, well, that's irregular, what's going on, or especially nowadays, where if you say, hey, something about me has changed sexually that I might not like any longer, the first reaction most people who are not in tune are going to say is, okay, well, who is giving you this thing that you used to desire that you no longer want from me? The assumption is always there's someone else, there's someone better, there's someone trying to take my spot. And that scarcity mindset will literally stagnate you in place. It will root you where you are
Mm-hmm.
because I'm afraid of what will happen if I tell you, hey, I actually don't like doing anal anymore. I
Yeah.
think it's a bit uncomfortable. I thought it was something that I like, and I'm realizing it was something I was doing because I thought you liked it. And if you are someone that's a huge pleaser like myself, even though I was a dominatrix, being a dom for me was a job. Like I was clocking in and out of that mentally versus being someone that loves to please those that I'm with. It's very easy to sometimes not adhere to or not listen to your boundaries because you see how much pleasure it brings the person that you're with. But that is so deeply rooted in a scarcity mindset of, well, what if they don't want me any longer? Or what if I can't have them any longer? Or what if I lose out on this lover? And a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people don't like admitting that because then it means you have to admit that you're scared. And we live in a world where people do not like talking about being scared. They don't like talking about being uncomfortable. They don't like that act of vulnerability because vulnerability and boundaries go together.
Mm-hmm.
They are best friends. If you are
Yeah.
not vulnerable with your boundaries, you're going to have a very uncomfortable and bad time.
Well, if you think about it, people, myself included, in
Hmm.
the past, people are really scared. of admitting how much they care, right? When you're
That is
scared of
true.
admitting that you're afraid, when you're scared of admitting that you're afraid to lose something, it's the even deeper fear of admitting how much you care and how much something matters to you,
Mhm,
because you can lose somebody if you express these things. It's absolutely possible.
mhm,
um I'll tell you a story. I'm a storyteller. I'll tell
mhm.
you a story. I dated this guy who worked in the same environment as me for about like 3 months. We never had any kind of sexual experiences, not due to me. And so he hadn't had sex in like 10 years at that time. He was very, what to me seemed like absolutely frightened of intimacy. I mean, we would kiss and he would shake. Um
Mhm,
and I have no type. So just for reference, this is someone who's very timid, not usually like in the dating pool, very reserved
mhm,
individual. And I remember his attempt to degrade me when I asked him, he was having a stressful day at work. So I was like, do you want to go to your car and get down? Like,
Yeah.
that's the solution. And
I like that
I will
solution.
never forget this man's sense of thinking that he could dominate me in that moment by saying, because he was a few years older, he was like 4 years older. He says to me, I'm gonna give you advice. And I was already like, well, I'm not gonna receive it, but
Yeah.
But I
this
guess.
man says to me, I'm gonna give you advice. You need to learn how to move slower and not be so sexual. It's not attractive.
Mm.
And I will never forget it, because I looked at this man like, so you you haven't even touched me. What do you mean move
Yeah.
slower? What do you mean move slower? And I wanted to degrade this man in the way that he attempted to degrade me. And instead I remember just pitying him, and reminding myself that I knew my worth.
Mm,
And instead, I said, well, I think we just speak a very different language, because I love to engage in sensuality, especially if I'm going to comfort somebody.
Yeah.
mhm,
Um, and I remember just feeling so confused that people really have such skewed relationships with their sexuality and project that onto others. And wait, how did I start this story? I forgot.
The
What
guy
was
that
the
you.
point? I lost the point.
The
Oh,
point we was talking about boundaries at first, and yeah, the
then we
whole
went
thing was
into
kind of
scarcity
funny.
mindset, and then you were talking about
Yeah.
the coworker
Oh,
that hadn't had a man
yes.
like
I
10 years.
I did not want to lose this person at that time,
Yeah.
because I
Hmm.
never want to lose anyone. I'm always like fully invested anytime I date anybody. And I remember hesitating before speaking up in that moment, because I didn't want to lose him and I knew I was about to. Um, but a few months later I met this beautiful person that I'm with now. So thankfully I said
Yeah.
bye, Felicia. Bye,
Listen,
Felicia.
he was just opening up that space, okay? Like, sir,
Yeah.
you evidently don't want to be here. It's okay. Trust me,
Yeah.
No.
there's someone that is worthy and wants this
Yep.
space. Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And like you dear, because that was a thing I would always feel bad about, because my Mars and Venus are in the same house in Sag, and it's in my fourth house. And so,
Oh. Oh, you sweet
Summer
lady.
child.
and it's really irritating, because I'm like that person. Like, if I like you, you
Hmm.
ain't gotta say nothing. You don't even have to say nothing to me. Just look.
You just
Just
gotta look
look
at
at
me. You
me. Just
you ain't gotta look at me. You
just
can just smile.
take your little index finger and just poke me. That
Hmm.
is it. And again, I've always dealt with guys that felt like they were being sexualized. But it's like, but I like you, and it's just us. We're here. Like, how do you not want, like,
Mhm.
what's going on? So I would always kind of like feel some kind of way of like, I got to a point where it's like, oh, well, this person doesn't want to touch me right now, but I'm not gonna like force them or try to talk them into it, because I'm gonna respect their boundary. But then it's like, but also I'm not being fulfilled in this right now. Like, I don't feel like no connection because we're not connecting on anything else at this moment, so it was that whole thing of, yeah, we're just not compatible, because I'm like, I'm pretty
Mm-hmm.
sure my husband would not be able to keep his hands off me, and so obviously you're not
You're
the
not
one for
him.
me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay if it don't work. We both got what we needed. We both learned our lessons, right? Hopefully. And yeah, you know. And so, and that would be the thing of two, of like, when it came down to sex, a guy could tell me no, he's not in the mood, and I'd be like, okay, and I wouldn't bring it up anymore. But I feel like, matter of fact, it's not even I feel like, I know that in times where I have told partners that I did not want to have sex, they would still kind of like try to convince me to have sex. And so at that point, it's just like I'm just laying there because it's like I don't want to, but I'm doing it for you. And now also get the fuck out of my face and leave me alone because I don't want to talk,
Mm-hmm.
because now I feel disgusting because it's like I did not want to have sex with you, and this is just so
Mm-hmm.
weird. Like now I'm so turned off by you that every time I look at you, I'm like disgusted. And
Mm-hmm.
it's that whole thing of like, that's also too when I started to like really learn more. Like, you can love someone, you can like someone so much, but if you guys are not a match, you're not a match, and it's always going to end at some point in time, or it's literally going to drain you until you
Mm-hmm.
leave. And I've felt that so
Mm-hmm.
many times in relationships of like, I'm just gonna stick it out just because. But it's like, also, once that switches in
Flips.
my mind,
Mm-hmm.
that is it. There's no going back, there's no turning it back on. So once I no longer view you as being physically or sexually attractive, I
Mm-hmm.
can love you. And I used to tell people, I was like, I can still love you. I had an ex that I loved him. I just didn't want to have sex with him no more. I
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
wasn't physically attracted to him. But it's like I stayed. But then it got to a point to like, this feels like such a task because I really don't want to have sex with you,
No.
And when it
And it's
starts
that whole
feeling like
thing
a
of like,
chore.
if you're not a match with someone, it's just best to do everyone
Mm-hmm.
the favor of leaving.
Oh yeah.
Agree. And I
When
think there's a conversation to be had right when we think of devotion. I
mm-hmm.
think sometimes people who are very different and might not immediately be compatible might end up being deeply emotionally compatible.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where intimacy takes place, and learning, is this person and am I willing to explore that and honor the ways that we're not compatible but find where we are,
Hmm.
versus people who are just committed to like their way,
Yeah.
not listening to
Mm-hmm.
you. Then you got to walk. But I think we all, myself included, are still learning the true art of intimacy.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I really think we are.
Yeah.
It's funny because you actually said exactly what I was thinking. Because I had to pull up one of my books. I'm like, wait, I know a chapter in Living Tantra. There is chapter 3 where they state, or it talks about meeting another in our sexual nature. And essentially, this whole chapter talks about relaxing into your own being, means that you discover your own natural sexuality, what it looks and feel like, how we can be open to allow pleasure, to not only meet in pleasure, but to celebrate and enjoy the natural sexuality, both with a partner and alone. And like you both mentioned, it's one of those things where it fits to the point where you start to see sex as a chore, or you have a partner that doesn't want to meet you at all. Like, they don't want to meet halfway. They don't want to talk to you about it. They don't want to make concessions to even learn what it would take. Then that's definitely when you have to walk. And we have so many people that they have a hard time talking about those things. They have a hard time opening themselves up to be vulnerable, to say, hey, I don't like this. Or hey, I
Hmm.
feel like if my needs are not met, if I'm still telling you what I need and you're acting as if you don't hear it, I'm starting to lose the want to experience that pleasure with you. I'm starting to lose the want to share myself
Yeah.
with
Mhm.
you. because now at this
Mhm.
point you've made it into a chore and it might not even be intentional. Some people really are hard-headed as
Mm.
hell. Some people really
Mhm.
do believe it's their way or the highway, but at some point they have to be vulnerable enough to say, okay,
Mhm.
just my way is not working. Then show me your way. It's like we're speaking two
Yeah.
different languages. Show
Yeah.
me the
There's,
language that
you
you
know
need.
what I tried? Oh,
Mm-hmm.
sorry, I
Oh,
cut
it's
you
okay.
off.
It's okay.
Um, you know what I've tried? Not in our sexual realm,
Mm-hmm.
but in our communication realm, because me and my partner have different languages of communication, and that was a clash, um, in the earlier periods of our relationship, where I was like, I don't see how this will ever last. I just don't. I didn't see it. I was like, I don't see it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and what we created, because I like writing, I love taking notes, we created a monthly meeting, and we still have them, and they're very helpful. And we have different aspects of communication, anything that came up that we didn't address, or anything you can think of, we have a whole list of things we address every month. And it's made such a difference. And the reason I bring it up is because you could do that, for things going on in the bedroom too.
Yeah.
For
Mm-hmm.
some people, it might not be comfortable to have those conversations when you're naked, when you're
Yeah.
literally physically
Mm-hmm.
naked. So sitting down and being like, hey, let's talk about this. And it's nerve-wracking. I
It
used to
is.
feel really nervous in the beginning of doing these meetings because I was not used to expressing my needs from a non-reactive point,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're not being reactive, if you're not triggered, then you're truly being vulnerable. You're truly at the core of what you feel and what you need,
Yeah.
and that's terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I remember being nervous of like, oh my God, how are we gonna have these meetings? And then, when you see that you're both reciprocating that energy and wanting to see your way through it, and
Mm-hmm.
I believe that can happen through your sexuality too with your partners, is finding ways that you can communicate it. Everyone is very different. Everyone has a
Mm-hmm.
different personality. And if you really cherish this
Finding a
person,
middle
they
ground.
do not have to be your life partner. This could be someone you agreed we're just gonna be sleeping together. Whatever it is, they're a human
Mm-hmm.
being.
Yeah.
And it's your birthright. It's their birthright to be respected, to be cherished,
Mm-hmm.
and to be heard and valued in that aspect. So this isn't just like, okay, we want to get married one day. No,
Yeah.
you're sleeping with someone. Respect them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I I wish I did that on dates. I should have been like, this is the list.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I had a list, but I didn't have a list for my sexuality because most people couldn't handle it anyway.
It's,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Especially because if you're
And
that open, they
so,
start getting scared too. Because they're
mm-hmm.
like, "Ooh, if you're this
Oh,
open, what's gonna happen?" It's like, I'm just
Well,
open
there's a
for a reason.
trick.
Hmm?
I love the trick of mentioning everything that any misogynistic asshole would judge,
mm,
whether it's true or not.
Mm-hmm.
Like I started doing that. I would make myself sound slutty. I would make sure they knew I had
I
friends who
love
were
that.
sex workers. I would like the whole list.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I would always get reactions, and you know who's real when they're just like, okay, like
Yeah.
whatever. Like
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I
There's
remember
respect.
telling
They're like, okay.
um yeah, I remember telling my partner about having been a dom, and he was like, "Oh, awesome! Now I get to be like the one who
Oh,
worships you, like you know." Versus other people who had been like, "Oh yeah, well, what's your kink and what, like."
Oh,
But
I
just
hate when
being
they do
very
that.
vocal of weeding out the misogyny is
Mm-hmm.
just everything they hate. You make sure you paint that picture.
yeah.
Weed
Mm-hmm.
those mother effers out because there's so many of them, and they're heightening right now with the state of the how the world is, how this
Mm-hmm.
country's political climate is.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
It
yeah.
seems even people of color, unfortunately,
Yeah.
are falling into this oppressive behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so we gotta weed out that misogyny real quick.
Oh
Like,
yes.
oh, you don't like promiscuity? This is how many people I've slept with.
Mm-hmm.
Ah,
And I lie. I lie big time. I'm giving you an astronomical number because if that alone scares you, you're not gonna want to talk to me. Majority of my friends still do sex work. A majority of my friends are still doing something of that nature. So if you don't
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
vibe with that, if you can't comfortably be around us, oh, you're not gonna like it here. You're not gonna like it
So
here.
I I feel like people sexualize me so much that even if I told them the truth of like, oh, I don't do this, I don't do that, they sit there and be like, really? Like, you don't
Mm.
have to lie. And it's like, why would I?
Really?
Yes, like I had a conversation
Wow.
with someone a couple days ago. And again, we're talking about this trip that I'll be taking. And I was like, my thing was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be on my cycle. But it had nothing to do with sex. It was like, I can't go to the beach because I'm on my cycle. And so we ended up getting to talk about sex, and I was like, yeah, I haven't had sex in like nearly a year. I was like, about 7 months. And she's like,
Mm.
really? I was like, I don't know why people think that I'm just out here sleeping around and sleeping with any and everybody. First off, I barely like people. I
Heard.
I sit here and I tell people like sometimes men disgust me, but I want my husband. I was like, my husband's not gonna disgust me, but I was like these other beings, I was like, absolutely disgust me because it's like the way they talk, the way they act is like, why would I want
Mm-hmm.
them touching me? I, I'm already feeling. I already went through my whole period of feeling ashamed for even letting the ones that did touch me touch me. So like,
Mhm.
ugh, girl, you should have held on a little bit longer. Like,
Mm.
what the hell? And it's like, because again, I'm like, I used to always tell this to my male friends when we would talk about sex. I'd be like, yeah, I need someone that's gonna worship me and like devote themselves to
Yes.
me. Like
Mm-hmm.
I am like heaven on earth for them. Like I want them to go above and beyond and treat me like a goddess. And they'd be like, no man's gonna do that. I said,
What?
yes. And I was like, what do you mean?
Your
I said, first
man's
off,
not
if I
gonna do
have,
that. My
That's
man, no.
wild.
I'm
People,
like,
they're
first
oof.
To
off,
even believe that is wild. What world? Oh,
Oh,
to
you
get out of
know,
that orbit.
and
mm-mm.
I sit there, I'm like, I was like, why wouldn't they do that for me? I was like, we see this with white girls. They do it for white girls. Why
Mm-hmm.
could they not
Mm-hmm.
devote themselves and
They sure
worship
do.
me? You know,
Mm-hmm.
am I not deserving of it? Like, again, a lot of men just look at me as a sexual person, and that was another thing that led to me like covering up so much, and like it's really
Mm-hmm.
hard for me to get out of like the baggy clothes and things like that, because Angel has seen it in person. The shenanigans that go on when I still covered but I'm showing maybe more arm than normal. Maybe I'm showing some ankle.
Listen, I condone it because I was in the background talking about run his pockets. Run his
And I'm
pockets.
like, no. And I'm so nice. Like, I don't
Yes.
want nothing from
Yes.
him. I was like, and I tell people, I was like, if I really tapped into this sexual energy that everyone talks about that I have, and this sexual energy, I was like, I will literally bleed people's pockets and I would not be living the life that I live. But since I care so much about like, oh, I don't want to do anyone wrong. I don't want them to feel like I use them. But then I'm like,
Oh, girl.
but I'm like, some of
You,
these would be you.
mm-mm. I'm hearing that you need to do a spell to draw in somebody who wants to worship you with his pockets, is what I'm hearing.
That's
Very much
Is what
so,
I'm
because
hearing.
you'd be
Because
surprised. That's what they
you
want to
love
do.
wisdom. You get
Hmm.
yourself your why. You love people who, intrigue your philosophy in life.
yeah.
So we need to draw that person in who's philosophical and has the money to back up those dreams and those
Hmm.
curiosities
Very
to your
much so.
Sagittarius Venus.
you know, oh my goodness, cause I sit there and I'm just like, I don't know, cause I always would come across
You would
men.
do it.
I would. I have
You
men.
would do it for anybody, so why can't they do it for
Hmm.
you? You would spend I'm sorry to cut you off, I will as
No,
your
it's
friend,
okay. I was like,
with
that's perfect.
passion. You would do it. You would never view it as someone using you. You
I
would
love the fact that we're
happily,
on the
even
same
if they did
page.
use you, you would say, I don't care. I still did it because I love them.
See,
I
but
love
So,
you. I love you. Because Liz, I'd be sitting here like, but they wanna. like, but they would
they
if they
really
willing to
do.
serve you some money on a silver platter, baby, take the money and the platter. Thank you. Can
hmm
I get
But
some
I
more?
met
You
this.
have more to
and
give?
that's their language. That's a big lesson to learn, and
Hmm.
and being a dom help that is learning that everyone speaks a different language of love, and sometimes it's identifying it, and it's just
Hmm.
as hurtful to deny it. If someone wants to
Yeah.
worship you and spend money on you, you might not know what kind of hurt you might trigger
Yeah,
by not allowing them to. Just the way it could
Mm-hmm.
hurt you when
yeah,
others don't allow you to express your care for them.
yeah. Cause
Right.
So let them.
but they want to talk to me.
Well,
That's okay.
that's another problem. I don't know what to tell you about that one.
That's the thing.
Oh,
Because and it's so funny because I've had so, and that's why I tell people I was like, I live this life that I don't have to live simply because I don't give a fuck about men like that. Like I'm always like considerate of their emotions stuff, but it's like also I don't want to be here with you because I done had men try to give me all expense paid trips out of the country to different states. I didn't have men that gave me diamonds. I didn't have men that I'm gonna bring you this gift just because you just met me and now
hmm
you have a gift for me. You don't even know me. What are you doing?
That's how they gonna get to
Like
know
I'm
you.
telling you I don't like people and you're steady
Well,
sending.
girl, what I am hearing is that you are somehow convinced that only people that you don't like are going to do this. And
Mm-hmm.
there's absolutely more than one. It's not just some one soulmate. There's a shit ton of men out there who you will be attracted to, who you will like, who you will yearn for, that will do that for you. So it sounds like
Mm-hmm.
you got a story to unlearn in there, girl.
We
Because
definitely have
I
something to
agree. Nobody
unlearn.
wants to talk to these men. They're annoying. They're annoying as hell. Who wants to
And
talk to men
needy.
all day? Um,
Like,
but there are some that you're gonna want to talk to, and they're gonna be enjoyable, and you're gonna crave them. Girl,
But we
you need
also
a
gotta
spell.
leave a
That's what I'm hearing. This whole
but
con-
we also gotta leave a house too. That's
I'm,
that's where the importance comes.
I'm
We gotta leave a
working on
house
that.
in order to do
But
so.
there's people
You know
outside.
what? Hosting, just keep hosting them community events
But
and
there's
bring yourself like a
Mm,
good someone who cares about the.
but there's people
hmm
outside. There's men outside.
They are
Hungry,
annoying. I give you
And
that. I
it's
give
a
you
lot.
that.
hungry men. They are like a pack of wolves. Have they no dignity?
No, they
No,
don't. They're
they don't.
sluts. They're sluts. What do you?
They don't.
They're
They
not
have
taught to
no
have
dignity,
dignity.
girl. What do you mean?
They're taught that dignity is for other people. They're, they don't have dignity,
It,
and that's
it's so
okay.
funny. It's so funny because I was having a conversation with my godmom, and I was like, "Yeah, it's so funny because Ben talk about how they don't like bitches, but they sure do get with them and do exactly what they say." And her
Mm-hmm.
son heard. He's like, "Oh yeah, we like that shit. We like the bitch. We like for them to yell at us and tell us what to do. We love that."
Yep.
And I'm like,
They think about any relationship you've been in where they bring that out of you. Those are the ones who have
"Oak
listened.
Tree is definitely
hmm
one of them."
They listen.
Do you?
I have a certain glare, and when that look comes out, anyone I've ever been with,
I hear
they
you.
yearn for it, they worship it. But when the people pleaser would come out, they did not worship that.
Yeah,
hmm
they definitely love the banter because I talk a lot of shit. Because I'm a Scorpio Mercury in the third house. And
I love that.
so I talk a
I
lot of
love
shit. And
that.
they love that. And it's like I'm literally talking so much shit about you. And damn near I'm really chest sizing you and you think it's cute and funny and want more. I'm disrespecting you right now.
I love that for you, as you
hmm
should. As you should.
So I'm like, I don't want to deal with them because they're being stupid. I don't want to talk to them because I'm literally cussing them out in more ways than one. And somehow
hmm
they're turned on by it. And again, I'm like,
Yep.
have you no self respect?
No,
No, they don't.
they don't.
Oh, well,
They don't.
They don't.
I
I.
guess.
They don't.
It's funny because I had therapy yesterday, and
I
when I was
guess.
talking to my therapist, oh, I'm sorry. Hmm? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're
My
good. You're good.
bad.
You're good.
Oh, when I was
But
talking
go
with my
ahead. Go ahead.
therapist
Go ahead.
yesterday, I mentioned how being a dom, although it definitely transformed my brain, it also it it hardwired me in a very different way. Because at one point when because I'm queer, I'm as gay as Peter Pan in a pair of ice skates. It's Queens over here. But as someone who is queer, when I did find myself dating men, I was explaining to my therapist, I was like, yeah, I would find their weakness and then exploit it. I'm gonna watch that. I see that wound and I'm gonna jab it I'm gonna put some salve, some healing salve, and I'm gonna jab it again because you're pissing me off. And it would be, oh, but I'm so in love with you. Why won't you talk to me? And I'm just sitting there like, because you pissed me off. Because you are irritating me. You have not done what I wanted. It was that aggression and that meanness that they were like, I want you so badly. And I'm just sitting there like, I know you do, but this version of you is not enough. I would find
Oh,
that
Mm-hmm.
I would find it
yeah.
because it's there, whatever that insecurity is, and I'm gonna exploit it. And when I was
And
talking
that's a
about
kink
how,
right there.
yep, and I was talking about how it took me a while to stop doing that in every relationship that I went into because it also threw off the power dynamics because I can clearly see what's going on. And it's not fair for me to walk into
Mm-hmm.
this relationship knowing that to an extent I see the wound. I know that I can address it with you. I know that I can help you work through it. But also, another part of me, the dominant part of my brain, is like, I can exploit this to mold you into what I want. And so I had to start learning a balance of like, hey, I see your wound. I see you for who you are. Let's come on common ground. Let's come equal to each other and let's work on it together.
Mm-hmm.
But now if we're just
Mm-hmm.
dominating men for money, yes, exploit them. All of them.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Every time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Every
Absolutely.
time.
Absolutely.
You know, I when
They
I
chose this. They chose this dynamic.
They
they
did.
did.
As I said earlier, I was teaching Autumn a Spanish term. ¿Quién los manda? ¿Quién
Ooh,
los manda? They created this. And
I like it.
Angel, ¿quién te manda is like, who the fuck told you to do that?
Okay,
Who
I was
told
about to
you to
say
do
it's
that shit?
giving that energy. I'm like, I like
You did.
that. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I was, because I love that she's exploring Spanish. So I was like, let me teach you something today.
You know,
So when someone does something stupid and they complain about what they created, you say in a very condescending way. But it has to be someone you love. It's
Yeah.
not something you say to just anyone. You say ¿Quién te manda?
¿quién te
Like,
manda?
who the
Mm-hmm.
fuck told you to do that? You did this.
Mm-hmm.
So I love addressing people's wounds because I think it's important that they face it.
Hmm.
And if they're not
Mm-hmm.
ready to, get away from me.
Yeah.
Because I
Mm-hmm.
will face mine. I have an ego too. I have pride.
Hmm.
And there's wounds that I don't want to face.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But if I see that we're both willing to, then I'm gonna let my armor down too and say, okay,
Yeah.
this is why we're both in this dynamic right now.
Hmm.
Let's do this. Let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I
Let's
feel like
work
too,
together.
because I love how the conversation just like, yeah, like the literally, because with the whole dynamic thing, that definitely is an important factor when it comes to the intimacy and the sex in a relationship, because there does have to be a balance, but also too you have to understand yourself. And I've had my fair share of men that in these situations or relations, even though we weren't together, of the power dynamic was off and I was always in control. Always in
Mm-hmm.
control. And so then when I tried to like give them the control, which is like the thing of like don't give them the control, let them put in the work for it, because you give it to
Mm-hmm.
them, then it's that whole ego thing and whole like trying to dominate. But definitely finding that power dynamic really does translate into the bedroom, because
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
we'll see those couples of like, okay, we see who's in charge, but then he turns around, he's like, it's actually her. She's
Mm-hmm.
actually the one in charge. She runs the bedroom. She runs the whole thing. She gives me the orders and I do this, and
Mm-hmm.
this is how it works, and this is how we're able to stay connected and continue to have that passion, because a lot of times with these relationships the passion goes out just as fast as it started, because again that whole everyone is trying to dominate, but it's like you can dominate in different areas. You can have
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
power in different areas of the relationship. You don't have to control the whole thing, because then at that point
Mm-hmm.
you just got like a little slave.
Or
Mm-hmm.
pet. and your
Yeah.
partner isn't your pet, or any person that you've
No,
decided to share yourself with, they're not your pet.
no.
And a lot of people kind of see it like that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, like this, I'm gonna sound kind of probably off, but I hate when people refer to their partners like they would refer to dogs.
Mm,
Like they treat them with the same words, with the same language that they would talk with a dog. And
mm.
it's like, is that your partner or is that your pet?
Yeah.
Do
It's
you see
weird.
them? It is, and I've seen it so much, especially lately in couples, and I'm like, I don't think y'all like each other. I think
Mm-mm.
y'all just I think y'all just tolerate each other. And you can see it in the way that they act with each other, or the way that they communicate with those around them, or even
Mm-hmm.
the way that they'll allow other people to communicate with their partner. And
Mm.
it's like
Mm-hmm.
you're not showing a lot of care and consideration here. You want to dominate them, but you don't care to take care of them afterward. Like there's no aftercare in this domination. It's just
Mm-hmm.
consistently being
Yeah.
dominated with no aftercare, with no
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I think
gentleness.
the kink realms really
Mhm.
teach you so much about that. And I wish more people would explore that part of themselves
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
because it's absolutely not even, I would say like 5% of it is sexuality.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
And the rest of it is so much of the process and the depth of your spirit and your soul and what you're willing to share.
Mm-hmm.
And you say aftercare, and it plays such a big role. I remember I knew it was time to retire from being a dom when, because my aftercare was always meditation with them.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
And when my sessions became primarily meditation, I was like, all right, I'm having them do fucking spiritual psychosis at this point
No.
through
Hmm.
toilet play. Like let's shift the
Yeah.
Hmm.
let's shift the path. But aftercare is important. You can't just go around thinking you can dominate people.
Yeah.
That doesn't work that way. And there's no love or respect in that. And when I have friends who get excited and they tell me they met someone who's into kink and then they explain it and I'm like, that sounds like that person's just having a good time degrading you for
Yeah.
free.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like there's no respect there. There's no sensuality. There's no presence.
I love that you
Um,
said that because I started the past two people I have dealt with. Um, both of them love to sit there and be like they're into kink. Okay,
Mm.
cool. I don't typically put like labels on things. And so I'm like, okay, cool. And so with their whole king thing, which would always irritate me, of like them trying to assert dominance in like the way they're talking to me, the way they're acting. Like I have
mm-hmm,
a there's one guy, mind you, I ignored him. I kept pushing him to the side. I was like, I'm not gonna talk to you, I'm not gonna talk to you. And I finally decided to
Mhm.
give him a chance. And so when I gave him a chance, he was talking all this big stuff, right? Talking all this big stuff. And then again, I'm real big. If you're gonna talk a big game, you better do it. Because you're saying a lot of things. So when it came time to us to actually have sex, it was like you're not you like the idea of kink. I don't think you fully explored it and understand it. But then also it was like once we like finished having sex because we didn't even like get all the way through. It was a lot of technical difficulties that was happening, and so like once he left, I was like, this man really just wanted to try to degrade me for whatever reason.
mm-hmm,
Mhm.
I don't know if he's just intimidated by me, whatever the case may be, but it's like, no, this man wanted to degrade me. He's not really into this kink like he said he is. And then even with another one of supposedly being, into kink, but it's like, no, I think you are just wanting to have sex with as many people as you
mm-hmm,
can, and again want
mm-hmm,
to try assert dominance over somebody, because I when I look at kink, I look at it as something that you I don't maybe I'm wrong, but I don't see how you can have this kink and try to do it with everybody. You
Mm-hmm.
don't have
Mhm.
like your partner that you explore with instead of you being like Christopher fucking Columbus trying to
Mhm.
like discover so many different lands and so many different people and just throwing your royal seed everywhere.
It's lazy.
Yeah, and because
Mhm.
I'm like, I think if you're gonna explore kink, like you would have your partner and you guys explore different things with each other, and maybe
Mhm.
you, if you guys are open to it, maybe you bring in a third person and you guys
Mhm.
explore with that person, and again go on from there.
It's lazy.
You
It's very lazy.
yes.
Lack of intimacy. Like you just can't stay in the same place and face the layers of your partner.
Hmm.
Like you're lazy.
Yeah, because
And
that's
there's a
what I.
lot
That's,
of
yeah.
oh, I was just gonna say there's a lot of people that also go into kink to thinly masquerade the abuse that they would like to inflict on
Mm-hmm.
others. And
Mm.
that for me, like
Mm-hmm.
you know how you mentioned earlier, you knew when it was time to just change course when it was like, okay, these are mostly meditation sessions. I knew that I was ready to change course when I was coming across as I'm a big gal. Like Priestess has seen me. I'm a big gal. I'm damn near 6 feet tall. Like you not
Oh
ignoring
wow.
me. And so being a black feminine person and being as big as I am, even though I'm not large in size, I take up a lot of space. Because when I go to these areas, I'm wearing the highest heels. I'm wearing the
Hmm.
reddest red. Like you're gonna see me whether you want to or not.
Yeah.
And I would come across people who, oh, I want to engage. I want you to be my play partner, and while I'm listing out all these things that are do's and don'ts and what I expect, and then I would go, okay, well, what are your expectations from me? And they would start going down the line. And I'm like, oh, this is just abuse. This is
Yeah.
just abuse
Mm-hmm.
that you are masquerading as
Mm-hmm.
some kind of playtime. But it's no, honey, I'm not. Or
Yeah.
when people would come, they say, oh, I have no limits. Yes, you do. You lack
Mm-hmm.
boundaries. I knew it was time to
Mm-hmm.
change course when I was coming across more people who very clearly just wanted me to harm them, but they had no
Mm-hmm.
want for aftercare. There was like this weird, really odd time in the kink community where people were not giving aftercare, professional doms and non-professional doms. It would just be like, oh, okay, well, we had a session, I left. You didn't let them
Yeah.
come down from subspace. You didn't
It was
sit
super
down
weird.
and right, like you didn't sit down and tell them like, hey, you're still valuable, you're still cared for, you're safe, you're in
Mm-hmm.
your body, you're here with someone you trust. You're just getting up and leaving. And
And
it was an odd, that's when I realized, okay, it's time to change course because whatever is happening in the kink
Mm-hmm.
community now, I don't want no parts of.
Oh, it's gotten worse.
Mhm.
It's moved away from being an art.
Oh
and
yeah.
see,
It moved away.
because when I was introduced, I never been into the kink thing. I will always be around people that were
Hmm.
into kink, that will go to these clubs, that will have these orgies and all these different things.
Hmm.
But I've never heard of like there being an aftercare for it. It was, they always just made it seem like, oh, everyone had fun. Deuces, we're all going home tonight, and we're going our separate ways. Let's do this again next week.
Hmm.
Mm-mm.
So that is very like new. Like I never knew that there's an aftercare with
Yeah.
it.
I mean, just
Hmm.
like any sexual encounter,
Yeah.
there's aftercare. And even that, I remember not knowing that like anyone who I experienced sexually, I didn't know aftercare was a thing until like I became a dom.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Um, and I was like, oh, people I sleep with should be tending to
Yeah.
me.
Hmm.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Oh my goodness. So learn something new every
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
day. But yeah, that's what I always stayed away from people that
Oh,
were always bringing up that would bring up kink, but they will always bring up kink in like the dom versus the submissive. And I'm just like, it's like, all right, I really,
sorry to cut you off. I gotta be in. Oh, yeah, this thing is stuck. I got. I, hold on. I gotta prepare some stuff for the baby soon.
oh,
Oh.
okay, okay.
I have a a beautifully sensitive boy who it's a whole process to take care of him.
Yeah.
Hmm. It
Oh.
sounds
His
to me like he
dad
has a
what
set
took
schedule.
oh he sure does.
Oh.
His dad just
Strict.
took Rain out because she was bored.
Oh.
Hmm.
So he took her out to go play. So I'm with Sleepy Boy. But yeah, he has like
A schedule. You got a routine.
Hmm.
he has a Capricorn moon. He did it well.
Oh
Oh.
yeah, yeah. He said
He's
we
cool.
going
He
on
has a
my
Sag
time
sun
schedule.
with a Capricorn moon and an
Oh,
Aquarius rising, and I love that for him.
No.
I can literally hear him saying, "Okay, see what you not gonna do." Like I can tell that's gonna be a part of his work. See what you not gonna do with me. Like boundary setting galore.
And I'm here for it. I'm like, okay,
Yeah. So,
Mm, just like,
let me
oh my
know.
god.
mm,
But yeah, that was my whole thing. Of I noticed with people when they would bring up kink and sexuality and
mm-hmm,
sensuality, it was always this is it and that's it. Like going to a register and just checking out and going about your business. That's like
mm-hmm,
how it was all packaged and sold. And it's like, oh, okay. So no, so I'm glad to know that I'm not weird for thinking like something's missing. There's not enough. Like I need
mm,
more. I need more. Like my spirit feels hungry for more, and it's like because you weren't getting fed.
yeah.
Mm.
They were just
Well,
handing you an empty plate, expecting you to just be okay with it.
Mm-hmm.
yes. Oh yeah, yeah. Well, we are
Mm-hmm,
in fact approaching our hour and a half mark. So
nice.
this was a very good conversation. It was very
It
educational.
was. Thank you for having
Yes,
us.
because I feel like these
Right. It was
conversations
extremely
don't, they're
fun.
not had. And if they are had, it's always again, it's just sex and that's it. It's nothing ever deeper
Mm-hmm,
into
Mm-hmm.
it because at the end of the day, we all have our kinks. We all have our things that we like. We all need to explore it and feel safe exploring it and
mm-hmm,
safe enough to explore by ourselves and not feel shamed and guilted, but also having a partner and
yeah.
having someone with us that we can explore
Mm-hmm.
these a whole new world with, you know. So I think her camera probably cut off,
Possibly. It did it to me as well.
but nonetheless, you guys can find her at sanctuarysoul.com. She is
Mm-hmm.
based out there in New York. But you can find her store, sanctuarysoul.com, as well as on Instagram. I'm gonna go ahead and let you plug your stuff in because you here.
Of course, y'all can absolutely find me at thecornucopiacompany.com. You can also find me on Instagram. Hold that thought. Let me pull that up as
Yeah, because your Instagram and TikTok name is different. I'd be like, God
they are
dang, what's her
different. And
Instagram
that is
name?
my fault. So on Instagram, you can actually find me at the Smoke and Honey Mystic. You can find me on Threads. You can even find me on YouTube as your Hoodoo and Conjure cousin, which I will make sure that on all my platforms I have a beacons link. You can always hit that, and you'll be able to find me in different or on different platforms, as well as get some free knowledge. There's free books. There are links that I have where you can download stuff for free to educate yourselves further because I only pulled it out for a little bit, but there's so much that there's so much that goes into the conversation that we had today, and this is
Mm-hmm.
just the tip of the iceberg.
And there
I
actually
have more
is a
books.
book that I want called Come
Mhm,
As You Are.
I have that one if you want to borrow it. It's somewhere.
Is it good?
There's It is so good. You're gonna see my annotations in it. I didn't highlight
Okay.
it and annotate it, but you could
Okay.
absolutely borrow it. I think you will love
Okay.
it because "Come as You Are" was actually one I gave as a suggestion to my therapist because we were having a conversation and I was like, "Hey, this book really helped me when it came to expressing myself as well as working with clients." Because it doesn't matter whether or
Yeah.
not you're a super professional dom, if you're just getting started, or if you're just someone that has sessions with people that you come across with. This is truly a path of a forever student. And when
Yeah.
you accept that you're going to be a forever student and that there's always something new to learn, you're going to come
Hmm.
across so many resources that you're not going to know what to do with yourself.
Oh, yeah. Because that was the thing. I was like, the education is out there. And again, I know a lot of people don't want to have these conversations
Mm-hmm.
because maybe their friends are going to make them, they're going to try to shame them and guilt them. And God forbid that they're speaking to someone that is super religious and try to demonize sex. And I feel like that's another
Yeah.
big issue with people
Mm-hmm.
exploring their sexuality and embracing their sensuality is that it's demonized, especially
Mm-hmm.
for women and girls, especially being a black girl, always labeled as hypersexual, and it's like I'm literally just existing.
I'm just standing here. I went to a Catholic school at one point. My mom would take me in and out intermittently and into private and public schools. And I, at one point, went to a Catholic school in my hometown. And it was so interesting to me just existing as like one of maybe six black students. Because the
Mm-hmm.
other five were all my cousins.
Oh,
So we would hang around each other, and it was so odd to watch people, mainly the white people we go to school with, hypersexualize us. And because, of course, we Creole folks, we all different
yeah.
colors, they don't realize we're related. So there was one day I was talking to my cousin and I was laughing, and the guy came, random white boy came out. His name was Rustin. I still remember he said, "Oh, I see you're flirting with that guy." And he was like, "Oh, are y'all gonna get together?" I was like, "That's my cousin." I'm
Yeah.
like, "We're just two different shades of brown, but we share a relative, a couple of them."
Yeah.
And he was like, "But you," he's like, "Y'all look like y'all were giving each other eyes." I said, "We're just
Uh,
standing there. We're just standing
that
there."
that is my biggest issue that I've
Mm-hmm.
dealt with, which again led to me covering up so much because I am a
Mm-hmm.
busty girl, very busty,
Mm-hmm.
and I am charismatic and funny, and I do talk to people when I'll be like, oh, I can't stand people, I can't stand men. I'm actually very funny, and I talk a lot. I'm a
Yes, look,
yapper,
I'd be dying laughing on
and
the phone.
you know, and anytime I will talk to men and women, because a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people think I'm gay, and then they think I'm bi. It really is
Mm-hmm.
really just weird. And I'm like, look, man, I'm just trying to have a conversation with you, cracking a few jokes, trying to have fun with you, just
It's that
kiki, ha ha.
sensuality that they're picking up on.
I'm not trying to sleep with you. Ah,
I told you, it
careful.
literally pours out of you. If they see sensuality, they see you like a honey bell. So you pull a honey bell out, they're like, "Oh, this must be for me." It's like, no, no, no.
Because now
I'm just trying to get
I'm
to know
thinking about
you.
when we went to I'm thinking about when we went to Bald Kitty,
Mm-hmm.
and Kyra was like, does she not see all these girls looking at her?
I literally said, "Hey, don't tell her." I kept telling him not to say nothing. I was like, "Don't tell her. Don't tell her.
Because
Don't
that is
say nothing. You gotta tell her when she get home. Don't tell her right now." He was like, "No, she needs to know." He's like, "Cause they is circling her like sharks." And I was like, "Actually, yeah, you don't need to tell her, cause they gonna try and take her home. They're gonna try and take her home, and I'm not gonna be able to defend her fast enough to get a hold of you to be like,
it
hey,
looks
they not coming to hang out."
and me being so innocent with it, I'm like, oh, they're just trying to be friends. Like, we're gonna hang out. We're gonna go do this. We're gonna do that. They are trying to get you, girl.
They's after you.
And so
What's that Whoopi Goldberg quote? Child, you in danger.
and so therefore, that when it definitely comes to me going outside, I for sure have people with me, and everybody else got to stay 70 feet away. 7 feet, because I don't need them thinking that I'm flirting and I'm just having straight conversation and being me,
That's the only
being
thing. That's
me.
the cost of talking to people. Is that someone's gonna have a projection or a thought. That's where energetic sovereignty comes in, because it's like, hey, I get what you're picking up. I get what you're wanting to have happen. However, that's a fantasy, and I'm not taking part of that.
Yeah, because I'm just trying to chitty chat, trying to be a friend in this
Mm-mm,
moment. I
mm-mm.
promise you, I'm not trying to take you home, and I'm not trying to go home with you. Please,
They said,
please.
I believe otherwise. I believe
I
otherwise.
My first time coming out of the house in months. Please don't do this to me. This is
Mm-mm. They
overwhelming.
They said we can sense a sensual presence. We can sense someone, and they start looking for you like a heat-seeking missile.
Ay, 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 so yeah, that this was a very nice episode, per usual. Every episode, I feel like every episode, and maybe it's just me, maybe it's me, but
Hmm.
I feel like everything grade A, it's kosher,
Honestly, I like
halal.
the conversations that we had because they were open and honest. And because, like you mentioned earlier, when people try and have these conversations, they really do only focus on sexuality. They're not focusing on
Yeah,
the underlying currents of what bleeds into that, like what actually creates this ocean of sensuality and sexuality. A lot of
yeah,
people do surface level. We're not trying to do that though.
yeah,
Surface level only gonna
yeah.
get you so
So,
far.
yeah. So before we do get off,
Hmm.
I feel like people don't need really help exploring their sexuality
Hmm.
outside of just setting boundaries. But I feel like when it comes to the sensuality, look at the sensuality as being, I mean, both sexuality and sensuality is for you. But for
Hmm.
this point to be made, look at sensuality as how you feel about yourself,
Hmm.
which also can then trickle into to some glamour magic of you
Hmm.
maybe dolling yourself up if that's something that's going to pick you up and make you feel good about yourself. If wearing perfume and a lot of jewelry makes you feel good about yourself, do that, because then it trickles into the confidence, which then
Absolutely.
can help you with your sexuality and exploring and setting those boundaries and having the courage and the bravery to set those boundaries without, like, yeah, I care about you, but also I care about myself more.
Hmm.
So that was my little tidbit.
And that's honestly, that's it. It literally is
Yeah.
like, hey, I care and love you, but I cannot care and love you more than I love and care for myself. Because that
Mm-mm.
is going to always be a recipe for disaster. You are 100% correct. You have to have, not selfishness, but you have to have an air of, before I pour out into you, let me make sure that my well
Yeah.
is full and my reserves are at where they need to be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm.
So I thank y'all once again, my dear friend, and I'm gonna call you shortly. I got two other phone calls to return, but
It's
I
okay. I
will
still got to
call
finish
you.
some tarot reading messages that I got to send out for the recording, so that is a-okay. I As soon as you
Okay.
call, I got you covered. But it was
All
amazing getting
right.
a
All
chance to
right.
speak with all of y'all. And of course, y'all take care and we'll be seeing y'all later.
Yes. Bye.
Bye guys. Let me see.